Okay, we are rolling. Champions of Champions boxing talk. No, that's not my real accent, but it's good to try new things every now and then. Would you agree? Shout out to all the other people that make videos from all different nations on YouTube. You do some fantastic work. There are a few channels I don't particularly agree with, but I'm not here to shoot people down. That's somebody else's job. Anyway, on to this weekend. We have a fight. I think a very interesting fight and a very entertaining fight. You've got in this sort of one protagonist who is a baddie, shall we say, a pantomime baddie. Oh, no, he isn't. Oh, yes, he is. That's Adrian, the Problem Broner. And you've got a people's champion, Mikey Garcia. You know. Who wins this fight? Well, I'm very, very sorry to upset the women that like to spin on poles and take, $100 bills from this guy, but he's going to get beat. Just because he talks a good game, Adrian Broner, that does not mean by any stretch of the imagination that your talk can save you in the squared circle, because there you require action. And Mikey Garcia's actions of late, to me, in the squared circle, have been better than Adrian Broner's. I was not impressed really by Adrian Broner's last fight. I thought Adrian Broner edged it, but it could have gone either way. That was a real close fight. That wasn't Jeff Horn Pacquiao. That was an absolute razor-close fight where, had the other guy's hand been raised, yes, it would have been, you could dispute it, but it wasn't a great display from Adrian Broner. Let's just put it that way. He was being outworked at times. His crispness and his smooth boxing and his accuracy and that good right hand he's got saved him in that matchup. Adrian Broner in the press conference. Now, I may have just sounded there like I absolutely hate Adrian Broner, and the truth is, I don't. I think he's good for boxing. I think you need characters in this world. You need different types of people. You need a Mikey Garcia, you need an Adrian Broner, you need crazy people. But the problem with Adrian Broner, and sometimes he's more of a problem to himself than he is for his opponents, is the fact that when I say you need an Adrian Broner, you've already got one. That was Floyd Mayweather. Adrian Broner really hasn't developed his own person or his own personality. And his fighting style, he's kind of a poor man's Floyd. That's just how I see him. Excellent boxer. Excellent. But elite like Mayweather? No. And to be like Mayweather and do the sort of things Floyd does, you have to be elite. It's the same scenario you get when people try and copy Muhammad Ali and Prince Naseem Hamed. They have no high guard, no defense. They leave their chin flying in the air, relying on reflexes they just don't have. And what happens? They get knocked out. And Adrian Broner has tried to be low volume and tried to use shoulder rolls and try not to move much and fight at a slow pace, and it cost him twice against Madonna and Sean Porter. Some people are blessed. That's the difference. Adrian Broner is talented, but Mayweather was blessed. There's a difference. So when you're not blessed, you have to do what Carl Froch's trainer did. Because Carl Froch wanted to be, according to his trainer initially, the new Prince Naseem Hamed. Now, can you imagine Carl Froch trying to impersonate Prince Naseem Hamed? He would look like Frankenstein's monster on acid, wouldn't he? And eventually he would get beat to a pulp. But they found, between them, who Carl Froch really was. A warrior, rugged, good jab, underrated technician, a great inside fighter. Some guy that didn't need to use fancy footwork getting around the ring, because when he's in your face, he's deadly. Deadly. And eventually, when they found out who Carl Froch was, he went on to be one of the best super middleweights of his era, and one of the best pound for pound, and one of the best British fighters we've had in a long time. But had they not gone on that voyage of discovery, Carl Froch would have looked like a very poor man's Nassim Hamed. And I think Carl Froch would do a worse impersonation of Nassim Hamed than Adrian Broner does of Floyd Mayweather, by far. But the same principle applies. I don't think we've seen anyone have the courage to say to Adrian Broner, you've got to be you. We've never seen the real you, and the real you must have capabilities that would surprise people. But it's not happened. Floyd Mayweather's lifestyle does not suit Adrian Broner, because Floyd Mayweather can be the man about town. He can go and throw all his money at strippers galore and do this and do that, but he's never out of shape. And when it comes time to train, he goes from the village idiot out there with the strippers and all of that stuff to the SWAT in the classroom when it comes time to focus on his boxing. Adrian Broner can't separate the two sometimes, in my opinion. He's failed to make weight on a few occasions. Signs that training camps have not gone according to plan. Can you name me any Floyd Mayweather training camp that in hindsight seemed to have gone badly where making weight's concerned and the discipline? No. He ticks every box. He parties hard and he trains hard, Floyd Mayweather, and he looks after himself. Adrian Broner can't separate the two. And that's why he lost on 2 occasions. He was out-hustled, the Marcus Maidana and Sean Porter. Those styles, he had no answer at all against Sean Porter. Apart from him dropping him late on, the fight was relatively easy to score. You would think after the Maidana fight he would have picked up something. In fact, he looked to have adjusted better to Maidana than he did to Porter. I was surprised. Would it take Floyd Mayweather? I mean, if Adrian Broner really is the new Floyd Mayweather, does it take Floyd Mayweather more than 24 rounds to figure out that style of guy, Porter and Chino? It wouldn't. I'm sorry. The best of us can have off nights. The Marcus Maidana could have been one of them, right? But then you get Sean Porter. That's 24 rounds of it then. Having said all that, Adrian Broner is a good boxer. When you're face to face and there is a... Well, boxing is about angles and distance. When there is a reasonable amount of distance between you and him, and it's a boxing contest, he can more than hold his own. He's got a great right hand. Very sharp. When he does put punches together, it's good. But he's low volume. See, for every single compliment, I'm giving him a criticism. Because they're all flawed. Every fighter in history has some flaws. Every human being does. So don't take it personal if you're an Adrian Broner fan. But he does have great hand speed. But it's low volume. I think Adrian Broner, if he put his punches together, would be an even better fighter. I don't know whether the low volume comes from the innate desire he has to be the new Floyd Mayweather, or the fact he's just not fit enough to keep up. I think it's a combination of both today. Adrian Broner is in better shape, I've noticed. At first, to me, he looked a bit drained, but he's looking in better shape. Will that help him? It's been a long time since he's been at 140 pounds. He's got to find a way, in my opinion, if he's going to compete at the top range at welterweight and at light welterweight, of moving them feet a bit better. I think Danny Garcia has some of the same issues. But your feet are a hell of a lot in boxing. They are everything in boxing. They help you to get around the ring, to generate the power, to sit down on shots. Now, Adrian Broner can sit down on shots. That's one thing he can do. But again, is the lack of motion with his feet sometimes a symptom of trying to stand there and parry shots with a shoulder roll? Or is it again a lack of fitness? Again, recently I think it's a lack of fitness. It's a lack of getting on those scales. Because Adrian Broner, in my book, is older than the calendar years he currently is, which is 28. He's put miles on the clock he didn't have to do. Right? All that partying. I've seen Adrian Broner with a belly that would challenge Tyson Fury's. Seriously. And he's fighting at the lower weight classes, which, of recent times, they've been the better fighters in the world, let's face it. The heavyweights have done a runner on us since Lennox Lewis retired. It's getting a little bit better now, but for a long time, since Lennox decided to go and retire, and Mike and Evander, the little guys have carried the sport. Absolutely no question about it, right? If Adrian Broner was Mr. Quiet and a 4-weight world champion, which he is, and with only 2 defeats on his record, you would see him as a great overachiever. You would see him like a Scott Quigg type figure, or shall we say Carl Frampton, or people like that. But with him having this expectation of being the new Floyd Mayweather, his results make him look overrated. Because you're comparing him to the cream of la creme. And he can't rise that high. He can't. He's not what you want him to be. You can only appreciate what you see. If you listen to Adrian Broner talk, you are going to get too excited, and then you are going to be disappointed when he bumps into a B+ fighter. He will lose. Do I think that will happen this weekend? Yes, I do, because I see a man in Mikey Garcia more focused. I've not seen him out of shape, even when he's had times where he's not been fighting due to issues with Top Rank and so forth. But Mikey Garcia quietly gets on with the job. He's a silent killer. He typifies this saying, empty vessels make the most noise. Adrian Broner was beaten by Chino Madonna. Robert Garcia has said that they will go for Adrian Broner and rough him up, Madonna style. When trainers say that, I'm skeptical. But I think Mikey Garcia may do it for a few rounds early. And it will be like for Adrian Broner what Kell Brook suffered. When Kell Brook was getting roughed up by Errol Spence, Golovkin come back to him. Kell Brook is no coward. Adrian Broner is no coward. But it's like these guys have flashbacks to styles that have really hurt them physically. And what they've been hurt by more, which is more painful to a boxer, is their ego. When they know that they can't seem to get past a certain style, their ego is cut apart. And once the mind goes, the body follows. I think Mikey Garcia early will try and rough Adrian Broner up. And then it will realise, the whole sport will realise that Adrian Broner, the problem, is more of a problem to himself than he is to his opponent. Mikey Garcia won't be as effective as Chino and Sean Porter because he isn't as physically imposing or as physically strong, I don't think. But it'll be enough to put Adrian Broner off his game. Adrian Broner will come back, and when Mikey Garcia gets tagged, he'll revert back to type, because that's what you do when you get hit. In boxing, you can start very well. Then the occasion gets to you and you start to become who you really are. The problem is, who Mikey Garcia really is, I still think has enough to beat Adrian Broner. Once Mikey Garcia begins to box, which that's what he is, he's not really a mauler or a brawler as such. He's a technician with good footwork, very good hand speed, better hand speed than Chino and Porter. And I believe, even though he's smaller, because he hits you so cleanly and so accurately, the shots hurt just as much, if not more. Right? Adrian Broner said in a press conference, he's not worried, I'm paraphrasing here, I'm not worried about Mikey Garcia because he's no Marcus Maidana. I agree. Mikey Garcia is better. I've seen some one-dimensional guys and not very high-ranked guys give Chino problems. Sean Porter has lost on 2 occasions. I don't think 1 or 2-dimensional guys beat Mikey Garcia. I think you need to have multiple levels to your game to beat him. It is a fight Adrian Broner is skilled enough to pull off an upset, because that's what it would be in my opinion. But he's got to be first to the shots. He's got to be the better boxer. He's got to have the better boxing IQ. And he has got a good boxing IQ, Adrian Broner. But it does get scrambled, like the internet. You know, when when your internet connection goes off when it starts raining heavily. That's what happens to Adrian Broner's boxing IQ when you get on his chest. And I think Mikey Garcia will do that early, as I've just said. Then, when he does have a bit of distance, Mikey Garcia, Adrian Broner will still be flustered and will not be able to get back to doing what he does best, which is box. But even if he does, I think the shots and the angles that Mikey Garcia throws them shots at will be a problem. A big problem for Adrian Broner. The volume of Adrian Broner is a problem in this fight for me. He's got to scramble Mikey Garcia from his game. He's got to cut Mikey Garcia's Wi-Fi connection. Single shots will not, in my opinion, put Mikey Garcia off his game. Maybe, just maybe, the style to bother Mikey Garcia, because he is unbeaten, is to throw a Sean Porter on him. So maybe the talk from the Garcia camp of being in there and throwing leather, big style on Adrian Broner, maybe Adrian Broner needs to think about doing that. It's too late now if he hasn't trained for that. That's what I would have been thinking. Reverse it. People are expecting me to struggle with the brawler. I'm going to brawl, surprise people, change it up. Because Adrian Broner, just because he fights like Mayweather, don't think for one moment that he isn't predictable. Because he is. We know what he's going to do. Right? So, ultimately, how does this fight end? I see Mikey Garcia being the first guy to stop Adrian Broner. I think he's going to be faster, slightly more powerful, slightly more aggressive early, the better boxing IQ. I think Mikey Garcia, sometimes when he throws that right hand, it looks like it's come out of nowhere, but it is perfectly planned and timed to perfection. And they're generally the shots that hurt the most. And you don't see them. Look at some of Garcia's opponents. Sometimes Mikey is easy to hit. But I think he's easy to hit sometimes because he doesn't really believe the guy in front of him has that much chance of beating him. I think we'll see Mikey Garcia with a better defense in this fight because he respects Adrian Broner. Because when all's said and done, Adrian Broner is still world class. It's just he's set himself up by talking so much that people pull him down now because he hasn't lived up to be Floyd Mayweather. But if he was the boy next door, he's world class. But Mikey is just that much better in every department for me than Adrian Broner. And Mikey at times chooses not to throw volume because he wants to admire the majesty of his own work by setting it up. There's a plan. As I've said before, I'm not sure whether Adrian Broner's low volume is a symptom of him trying to be Floyd Mayweather or whether he just doesn't have enough gas in the tank. I think it's a mixture of both. The size thing, Adrian Broner will look quick and sharp at times during the mid-rounds, but I think the weight's going to get to him. And I think Mikey Garcia is smart enough to go to that body because when you lose weight, body shots are a problem. They are a problem. And Adrian Broner now has gone a few years where he's not made 140 pounds. And that is a sign that he's been struggling to cut that weight. Now he does look well in my opinion. But it's different looking well on the scales and it's different than applying it in the fight. And it's a lot easier coming up in weight than it is going down in weight. I think Mikey Garcia may be a little stronger. I think he's growing into a different weight now. He will naturally. He's 29 years of age. Adrian Broner is young enough to learn new tricks. But I don't think he's the type. His ego has got in the way. This rival stuff with Mayweather. He's not Mayweather. He's not. Had Adrian Broner decided to be Adrian Broner, who knows? You could be talking about an undefeated fighter here. And a guy who is really 28 and not 30 odd in the body. But I think Mikey Garcia stopped him late. And I think the fact that Adrian Broner sometimes is a walking forward shoulder roll, Mikey Garcia's hand speed will get through that. I think he'll apply shots to the body. And I could see a 10th round TKO. I could see Mikey Garcia. I could see Adrian Broner looking like he's holding his own. Looking strong in there around round 4 to 7. Mikey Garcia then, Adrian Broner just imploding. It generally happens like that, doesn't it? It looks like the fight is taking the shots well, and then it all catches up with you. And that's what I could see happening to Adrian Broner. And this is a fight Adrian Broner needs to do well in. If he is destroyed in this fight, and I'm predicting Mikey Garcia to beat him by knockout, that's going to be worse, obviously, than the Chino and Modana fights. I'm worried that Adrian Broner's fragile ego doesn't have the strength to survive this. And then I see Mikey Garcia climbing on from here. I think Mikey Garcia right now is a tough order for even Manny Pacquiao. Because this guy is very underrated. He's going to come under the radar and then he's going to shoot through the beam. I think Mikey Garcia hurts and stops Adrian Broner when he feels like it and when he wants to step it up. Because I don't think Adrian Broner will have enough surprises for him. I think people now at the elite level, and sometimes even slightly below that because of his discipline, have seen what Adrian Broner's got to offer, and that's a poor man's Floyd Mayweather. He's kind of starting to look like Andre Berto in that sense, who again has been a really good fighter. They both have. I'm not taking nothing away from them. But I think Mikey Garcia is climbing to the top of the mountain. He's one of those guys where I think Adrian Broner is sliding down the hill slowly. Years ago, I did see a better, more focused Adrian Broner. But it's not been good him hanging around with Floyd Mayweather. Let me tell you a little situation that's similar. I know an actor that really doesn't have to learn his lines to turn up on set and be good. And he told another actor to do the same thing, and this guy was rubbish. He was rubbish. Because different styles help different people. You can't expect one person to respond to the same stimulus as another person. The guy that didn't need to learn his lines, he's naturally gifted at that. But the other guy needed to find out who he was and learn them lines. And who knows, at what he does, he may be just as good. Adrian Broner may have just as been an elite level fighter as well, had he not tried to become King Floyd Mayweather too. So, he's really not lost it all in the squared circle. He's kind of thrown it away a little bit with his mentality. Or borrowing another person's mentality. That can help sometimes. But the truth happens in the ring. You can talk all you want. When the bell goes, it's you v him. The memory of Floyd Mayweather could not help you then. Mikey Garcia, I see as a comfortable person who knows who he is. This is different. And it will show in the ring. Adrian Broner is not as confident as Mikey Garcia, despite all the talk. Mikey Garcia is quiet because he doesn't need to say much at this point. His boxing will do the talking. I believe come fight night, you will all agree with me when you see the results of it. I'm expecting a good display from Mikey Garcia, and I wish Adrian Broner all the best. He's going to need it. Champions of Champions Boxing Talk, I'm out.